Today we're going to talk about how to naturally boost your growth hormone up to 2,000%. Unfortunately, as we age, growth hormone goes way down. In fact, by the time you're 40 years old, your growth hormone is down 40%. By the time you're 60 years old, your growth hormone is down by 60%. Growth hormone is all about burning fat, building muscle, muscle repair, muscle recovery, and even anti-aging. However, there are some debates on whether it's anti-aging itself, because growth hormone, if you take as an injection, can shorten your life. It creates a lot of diseases. It has a lot of side effects. So your goal should not be just to increase growth hormone as much as possible. And it is important to know how to boost it naturally, or at least to optimize it. And then what are all the things that can inhibit it, especially if you're trying to lose weight, because as we lose growth hormone, we lose our muscle mass. We get more body fat, especially visceral fat. We lose the bone density. Our skin becomes very thin, almost like paper-like, and our insulin sensitivity goes down. So then we have more problems with blood sugar issues. Growth hormone itself does not create any of these effects in any significant way. It's kind of like a signaling communication that gets something else in the body to do the work, called IGF-1. In order for growth hormone to create all these cool effects through this hormone, there has to be a conversion in the liver. And that conversion needs insulin, and it needs other helper nutrients. Let's first talk about all the things that can block growth hormone. Number one, insulin, I just mentioned that. Obesity, age, sugar will do it, stress, poor sleep, alcohol, overeating, especially at night, and low vitamin D. So all of these things can shut down growth hormone. And if you don't have the trigger for this, then you don't get the benefits of all these things right here. And the other thing that's really important to know for this conversion is if you have a fatty liver, you're going to have a hard time allowing this to work. One thing you need to know about insulin, especially in this conversion, is that yes, carbohydrates increase insulin, but protein can also increase some insulin. The protein that triggers the most insulin of any protein is whey protein powder. When you consume protein, you don't really have to worry about this insulin, because you also trigger other hormones that compensate and balance things out. Versus when you're just consuming like carbohydrates, like refined sugars and things like that, you're stimulating insulin, but not these other hormones that are buffering the effect. Animal protein in general will be sufficient to create enough stimulus to this insulin to allow this to work. So that's all you need to know about insulin. If you're consuming enough animal protein, you'll have enough insulin. You don't have to worry about that. And the reason I'm even bringing it up is because sometimes people will tell you that if you do keto too long, chronically, over many, many months or whatever, your insulin's going to go so low, then you're not going to get the benefit of this. Well, what about protein? Protein stimulates insulin. So that argument kind of goes away when you talk about that. Also, dairy. Dairy will potently stimulate this insulin as well. And especially this amino acid leucine, which actually is an animal protein. So let's now shift into the things that can really optimize and boost your growth hormone by 2 to 3 times, okay? Let's start with the first one, GABA. GABA is a neurotransmitter in your body that can increase growth hormone. And one of the ways that I increase my GABA is by taking magnesium glycinate will increase GABA. All right, next one is melatonin. If you keep the lights out about 2 hours before you go to sleep, and maybe even wear the blue blockers and you drift off into sleep, it's the melatonin that puts the pressure on your body to sleep. So melatonin can actually help increase growth hormone too, because of the big connection between sleep and growth hormone. I'll be talking about that next. L-Glutamine is something that is really good for the gut health, but it can also increase growth hormone. Arginine is also a potent way to increase growth hormone. Some people are taking it, but there's a catch-22. You do not want to take it right before you work out, because if you're combining Arginine too close to your workout, it'll actually lower growth hormone. So if you're going to do Arginine, you want to take it at least 2 to 3 hours before the workout or after the workout to be able to have an increase in growth hormone. Cold therapy will increase growth hormone. Here's a supplement that some people take to increase growth hormone called Alpha-GPC. Another thing that will increase growth hormone is hypoxia training, getting a mask of restricting your air to mimic high altitude training. And you're doing this intermittently. You're only doing it for like maybe 10 seconds, but you are creating this stress in your body that then stimulates growth hormone. And of course, doing the ketogenic diet will also increase growth hormone. Why? Because you're lowering your carbohydrates. And like I said before, both sugar and insulin inhibit growth hormone. And then also higher protein. With women, especially when they go through menopause, I think they don't consume enough protein. And sometimes I have to tell them, increase your protein, because if they're just doing a little bit of protein once a day, it might not be enough, simply because their adrenals are in what's called a catabolic mode where they're breaking down more protein, so they have to compensate. But having sufficient animal protein is important to have the raw material so the growth hormone can do its job. Now let's talk about the things that can 5 to 10x growth hormone: deep sleep. And to achieve that, you need to have your room cooler, like 65 degrees Fahrenheit. I just have a sheet over myself so I'm not too warm, but I have my feet warmed up, and that seems to work out great. I have a little blanket on my feet. Keep the room really dark. I wear the little mask, I wear the earplugs. My wife does not, but she sleeps fine. Magnesium before bed. Sun in the morning, because you get the blue light that wakes you up, and it starts this circadian rhythm, so then at night you can actually go to sleep. So in other words, it takes this light dark cycle to reset or keep the circadian waves correct, versus what most people do is they live inside and it's light all the time, and even at night they have these lights in their computers, and it really throws off the circadian waves. Exercise during the day will help you sleep. At night, glycine can increase GABA and helps you drift off into a wonderful sleep. Zinc can also help deep delta wave sleep. Okay, the other thing that can increase growth hormone by 5 to 10 times is fasting for like 23 or 24 hours. So when you're doing one meal a day, you are increasing growth hormone significantly. Now let's talk about how to increase it by 10 to 15 times. You can fast longer. When you do a 5-day fast, you can significantly increase your growth hormone. A lot of the benefits from that 5-day fast occur once you refeed. Okay, and I talk about that in the video. In fact, I'll put that video down below if you haven't seen it. And then the ultimate way to boost up growth hormone is through this thing called exercise. You could increase it by 10 to 20 times, especially if you have heavy loads of weight. With this comes the risk of getting injured. So really work up to this, get someone to help you. Don't just jump right into it. But the more intense the workout is, the more you're going to stimulate growth hormone. The ultimate way to stimulate growth hormone is through squats and deadlifting, because you are maxing out most of the muscles with high intensity. You're really going to stimulate growth hormone. There's a couple little things that can actually amplify the growth hormone stimulus. And that's if you don't rest as long as I usually recommend people rest. So this is not what I'm recommending. I'm just telling you that if you were to rest only 30 to 60 seconds, you stimulate more growth hormone. But I don't really recommend that, because most people do not have good recovery. And so we want them to do this safely. But there's something a little bit more intense, and that is sprinting. A flat out hardcore sprint will stimulate even more growth hormone than the squat or deadlift, because there's something else involved, and that is lactate. You probably heard of lactic acid. When you push yourself where your muscles are burning, that is lactate filling up as a byproduct of glucose, and that directly massively increases your growth hormone. So with sprinting, you are just quickly generating a lot of lactate within 10 to 15 seconds, versus you are generating lactic acid with this other workout, but with sprinting you generate more, and thus you increase more growth hormone with the sprinting. And the research behind that, I'm going to put this research down in the description. It shows that the 400 meter and the sprinting through cycling will achieve that. But then you also have CrossFit. This is hardcore. I personally cannot do CrossFit because it's just too intense for my body when I'm 60 years old. That's a combination of resistance training and cardio with very little rest, but it does stimulate a lot of growth hormone. You have to have really good recovery to be able to handle CrossFit. By the way, walking stimulates no growth hormone. Low intensity exercise is not going to increase your growth hormone. But I think it's important to understand all the things that can trigger growth hormone and then all the things that can inhibit growth hormone, so you can kind of dissect your life and see what you're doing so you can enhance or optimize your growth hormone. So now that you know about growth hormone, which is a really big piece of the puzzle of getting you healthy, and that's why I created this video right here for you to watch. Check it out. It's going to blow you away as far as what it can do for your body.